What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here with an interesting video. So yesterday I told you guys, if you checked out the injury report video at the beginning, that I had a lot of clips that I was going to throw into that video, but I decided, man, it's going to be way too long, so I'm just going to make it its own kind of thing. Well, that's what this is. This is kind of its own thing. In this video, we're going to talk about the Lions losing the first pick in the draft after their win against the Arizona Cardinals. We're also going to take a look at this game against the Arizona Cardinals and a few key clips offensively to show how I believe the Lions out-coached, out-game planned Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals, and why that's so important for the Lions. Plus, at the very beginning of this thing, we're going to talk a little bit about Goff and this offense since the bye week and how things have changed and how you can kind of break this year up into like 3 different segments. It's kind of a strange video. It does bounce around a tad, but this like mainly 3 segments. It's the Goff and offense statistically, and then we'll jump into losing the first pick in the draft, and then we'll jump into the film of this last game, look at some key plays, and then it's kind of over. So that's what you got for this one. It's a little bit of a longer one, but I hope you all enjoy it. I didn't know exactly how to make this, but I was like, it's got to be a video because there's a lot of clips here. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sorry, this is not the outro. I about to say thank you, for watching. It's not the outro. I'm sorry. I don't know if there even is an outro. If there's not, this is the outro. Thank you, for watching, and I'm out. But we're still here. Enjoy the video.
The city's been down, and it found a way to get up. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. We're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
A little bit about the quarterback position. Let's talk about Jared Goff and really his play since the bye week. When I look at this season for the Lions, specifically with the offensive side of the ball, I feel like you can kind of break it into 3 different segments, maybe even 4 different segments this season. It feels like kind of their own seasons that we've had within one season this year. It's just been a crazy year, plus you throw in the COVID stuff. And the defense has had their own roller coaster to go with as well, where it's just kind of been up and down, don't know who's going to be there. We've lost a lot of key players defensively as well. But when you look at the offensive side of the ball specifically, there's been a lot of key changes that I would call like different seasons for the Lions offense, and you could see that, right? I would say the first week of the season through about the 4th week of the season, its own little segment, and we took a look at those numbers for Jared Goff during that time. If you guys remember, we did this video a while ago, and I'll throw the stats on the screen right now. You can see they're pretty solid. 97 pass rating at the time, that was 14th in the league. 7 adjusted yards per passing attempt, right? So that was pretty high, so it meant we were pushing the ball a little bit more. 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. His stat line was pretty solid. You go back to the first 4 weeks of the season, and we had a couple of different things back then. Remember, we didn't have Taylor Decker during that time. We did have Frank Ragnow at the receiver position. We really didn't have Tyrell. We had him for the first game a little bit, but we did have Quintez Cephas, and he kind of emerged as the top guy. And I felt like during that time, the Lions didn't necessarily have a problem moving the football as much as they had a problem with just turnovers and having bad turnovers, specifically in the red zone, not being able to finish off drives. And there were some games, within that, like the Baltimore Ravens game, that we definitely could have won. In the first half, we really didn't move the ball, and then the second half, we started to get it going. So I would call that kind of its own thing. And statistically for Goff, it wasn't bad during that time. But then after those really first 4 weeks, things kind of took a plummet. In that 4th game against the Minnesota Vikings, we know Quintez Cephas went down. At that point, it was just like we were scrambling, trying to figure out who else could play outside receiver for us. We went through Kadero Hodge, Trinity Benson, Geronimo Allison. We were just all over the place. We also lost Frank Ragnow. So we were down now our top center. I think he went down in the Bears game, if I remember correct. Yeah, the Bears game. Evan Brown stepped in. Now, there's actually been a positive out of that because we've gotten to see Evan Brown, and we know that he's a very legitimate backup center, and he'll be good to go going forward. But that was really the slump, I would say, of the Lions season. The game plan changed a little bit. It's actually really the last 5, 6, 7, 8, last 4 weeks that Anthony Lynn was our play caller heading into that bye week. And the Lions, as a team, they had some blowout losses in there, but they were just not doing well offensively. You see Goff's numbers during that time, they were awful. 1 touchdown, 4 picks, 73 pass rating. It was not good for our offense. The scheme changed big time. We've talked about this in the past, but now we have the new section, this new segment for the Lions to take a look at, because there's been some major changes since that time. After week 8, we head into the bye week for week 9. We get things figured out, and some major changes come along. So we've taken a look at the first 2, right? We all know about that. The Lions were doing, a lot of different things offensively. 3rd and long, they weren't even trying to push the ball down the field. Their pass protection was awful. We talked about all that. But then you hit this bye week in week 9, and things change. First thing, you get Taylor Decker back. That was a huge get back for the Lions, and we've definitely seen the effects, and it's allowed us to trust this offensive line much more, especially since Goff has been healthy. At the beginning of this I don't know, coming out of the bye week, Goff wasn't healthy in the game he played against Pittsburgh, and then we know Tim Boyle played against the Cleveland Browns, but you also got Josh Reynolds during that time, and you made the change to Dan Campbell, who is now your play caller. The Lions didn't win a game up to that point in the season offensively. They were just really bad for the last 4 weeks, so Campbell wanted to shake it up a little bit, and getting Josh Reynolds was huge. He went through the waiver wires, you picked him up, that's been a huge addition since. Throwing to him, Goff has a 104 pass rating. When we throw to Josh Reynolds, that's been great, and then you also get to their Decker back, which has allowed us to use Matt Nelson as the 6th offensive line, where he's really been really good in that role for us. But it's allowed us to put Sewell back at the right tackle position, and at the right tackle position, he's just been on fire. Your offensive line is clicking much more. You've learned a lot about Evan Brown. You have another outside receiver now that there's no Quintez Cephas with some size that Goff trusts a ton. You can throw in a little one here, and there's also been game plan changes, having St. Brown play a little more at the Z receiver position, going with another guy that you trust a little bit more. Been a lot of changes. And when you take a look at the statistics since that time, you can just see how they've kind of taken off. I mean, let's take a look at the numbers here. There's still been little things you got to throw in there. First off, it says week 10 through 15. Week 11, though, it was Tim Boyle starting at quarterback, so he didn't even play in that game. And the week before, he was injured, and Dan Campbell came out and said, hey, look, it limited some of the things that we could do offensively because he was dealing with that oblique injury, and at the time we didn't have Tim Boyle who we could go to, so we left Jared Goff out there, plus the conditions were terrible. You look at that time span, 5 games that Jared Goff played, and you can look at his stats since that time, really coming off of this bye week, excluding the game where Tim Boyle played in. He's got a 99 pass rating, including 67% passes. Last week, I think it was like 80-something%. 9 touchdowns to 2 picks, over 7 adjusted yards per attempt. Again, it's back up to there. He's not fumbling as often, and that's including the Steelers game. If you take out that Steelers game, his pass rating is well over 100. You're looking at like 105 pass rating for Goff. Remember the 2019 season, it was Stafford's best pass rating that he put up through 8 games. He had a 106 pass rating with us. It's been pretty good since the bye week, and there's also been a lot more little things thrown in here, like kind of the emergence, it seems, of a guy named Ben Johnson, who's been doing a lot more, I guess, with our passing attack. They said it's been a little bit more of a reduced role for Anthony Lynn as the offense coordinator. We know he's no longer calling plays, but now you're getting Ben Johnson more involved. I think you're seeing the creativity, but you're also seeing personnel plus coaching kind of come together. And we talked about this on Monday, but I think those stats kind of give you a good look at what we're seeing here, with having a guy like Josh Reynolds, now a top receiver for him on the outside, and having Decker back, which has been huge. And you also throw in the fact that the Lions have been able to run the ball all season. They're currently top 10 in yards per carry, which they have not been, I don't think, that high since Barry Sanders was playing in the National Football League. I know we were not that high ever when Matthew was here. To this offense starting to kind of figure things out. I mean, if you look at the past games since the bye week that we played, and you got the tie against Pittsburgh where he was injured. Again, if you had a kicker, you win that game still. Cleveland, which was the loss 13-10, but Boyle started that game. Then you look at Chicago, you lost 16-14 in that one. And then the Minnesota game, Goff's the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. We win 29-27 on the last second touchdown. Then their Denver game, which really was just some big key mistakes by us in the defense. We just couldn't get off the field. And now this last game against Arizona, which what I would argue is Goff's best game of the season. I mean, the numbers may not be super bulky, but having only 5 incomplete passes, going over 200 yards, and just, I thought the way we played offensively as a whole was really good. There's been a lot of talk out there since the Detroit Lions have now lost the first pick in the draft. They're currently sitting number 2 after their win against the Arizona Cardinals, that the Lions need to tank, right? They got to lose on purpose to play for this draft pick. I think it's important that the idea of tanking really doesn't come from the players or from the head coach. I mean, the players and the head coach, they're doing whatever they can to win every single football game. And I think Dan Campbell had a pretty good answer of this when he was on the radio show, basically just saying, what am I do? Go in there and tell the guys, hey, we're going to try to lose for a draft pick. Yeah, that's not how you do it as a coach, and that's not what the Lions are trying to do. Now, it's not like the Lions went out there in the trade deadline and went out and traded for some receivers or for some tackles and said, hey, we're going after this. We're going to use some draft capital. I mean, really, if you think about it, the only reason we got Josh Reynolds is because the guy was let go by the Tennessee Titans. If he wasn't let go by the Titans, I don't know where really the Lions would be at offensively right now. I don't know what they'd be doing at their X-receiver position, because he came in and has kind of just taken over that role since that time. So it's not like the Lions have went out there and traded or did some crazy stuff during this season, which we talked about back at the trade deadline. They've kind of just held still. And I think there's a lot of good that you can learn from this and try to figure out, okay, how do we make up for not having a Hawk or DeAndre Swift in the game? With what we have, how can we find a way to still be productive offensively, right? And they've had to change things. They've had to get other guys involved. They've had to figure out how to win games. And I think it's actually worked well for the Lions. If you look at this, what this is doing right now is it's teaching us a lot as well of what guys guys should be here, what guys should be part of going forward, what guys can we trust in certain situations. I thought Campbell's answer was great to this. He said, Brad Holmes, he's a really good GM, and we trust that he'll get us the players, right? No matter where we're sitting, he'll get us the guys. By moving around the board like we did in the last year draft, we traded up to go get a guy like Derek Barnes, who we really liked. We're trading for a Trinity Benson, even though that one didn't hit. There's different ways, and I think when you look at the Lions' past drafts, I mean, when you look at some of their best hits, I would say guys like Penei Sewell this year, of course, he was the 7th pick in the draft, but TJ Hockenson was an 8. Frank Ragnow was the 20th pick, and he's one of the best centers in football, if not the best center in football. Taylor Decker was the 16th pick, and he's you can see the impact of that guy coming back. And then you can also miss some in the same areas, like a Jared Davis, who a lot of that had to do with the scheme change. The good thing is we won't be doing that after the season, which is nice. Jeff Okudah, who we haven't seen. I'm not going to say we missed on him. He's just been injured. And then Eric Ebron, right? He was the 10th pick in the draft. That one didn't work so well either. Of course, there's a lot of reasons I would rather see the Lions win games than go out there and lose games for a potential higher draft pick. First and foremost, the most basic one is I just like to watch my team win games because it's way more fun to talk about the Lions when they win versus when they lose all the time. We've seen a lot of losing as Lions fans. You guys have seen a lot more than I have. So it's fun to win football games. But I also think it does more for building your team when you learn how to win football games based on the situation that you are given versus losing for maybe a little bit of a higher draft pick. I want to see the Lions find a way to win football games, find a way to stay competitive, and find a way to pull it out in the end. And the improvement that we're seeing as the season goes on, the Lions figuring things out, the offense coming together, that means way more to me than the Lions holding the first pick in the draft. I mean, I don't think the Lions are heading into this draft thinking, man, if we can get this one guy, we're going to be over the top. I mean, we're not one player away. Let's say Lions hypothetically got the first pick in the draft and you got that player. What happens if he gets hurt and he misses the whole season? Is your whole second year done because you missed out on that one guy? And even if there is that one guy that Brad Holmes picks up in this draft process, he's like, we need him. You can find a way to go get him still. I mean, you may have to give him some capital, but if he's really that guy, you find a way to go get that guy. It's not like we're going to be sitting at the 32nd pick in this year's draft. I think most of us don't believe it's going to be a quarterback anyways at the top for the Lions. Even if they wanted to take quarterback in the first round, they'd probably be able to take the first quarterback off the board no matter where they're sitting, just when you look at how the draft board is setting up. But to me, it means a lot more to find ways to win games, find ways to outcoach opponents based on what you have. I mean, there's a lot of talented players in the NFL. And yes, there are different levels to it. The Lions may not match up roster-wise with some other teams in the league right now. I mean, to me, this Arizona Cardinals game, because of the situation the Cardinals were in, that they were looking, coming off a loss to clinch a playoff spot, to win like that, that tells me a lot more than it does you losing to the Arizona Cardinals. How can we trust a coaching staff for an entire season that doesn't find a way to win a football game and just say, well, if they get better players, they'll be good? Like every team doesn't think they just upgraded in every single offseason. I mean, I'm not confident in that because like I said, what if that top guy that we brought in that we were hyped about in the offseason gets hurt? Is our entire season over and we're on to year 3? That can't be the way to look at it. I mean, look at us this year. We're missing our top 3 pass rushers. We're missing Trey Flowers, Romeo Okwara. If you want to throw Julian in that mix, I guess you can. Not only do other guys get a chance to step up and prove themselves, like Charles Harris, who has proven that he definitely deserves to come back, but it's the coaching staff finding a way to get it out of those guys. I mean, how many years did we just blow second-round picks where we got literally no production from our second-round picks, from the Tease Tabors to the Amir Abdullahs? And that's what we see around the league. Like, for example, Kyle Van Noy. We draft Kyle Van Noy high, does nothing with us. We send him to New England, he's great. But you also see it right now with us. Charles Harris really could not find a home. He was a first-round pick. All of a sudden, he signs with us, and he's having his best season, and it's not even close. He has been incredible this year. I mean, he'd be a starter on a lot of teams right now. That's what we found. It's about getting that out of those players, finding those late-round UDFAs and finding some type of production out of them, because it's not like they're just out there because they have to be. Jacobs is playing well when he was healthy. AJ Parker, like, we're looking at these guys as future pieces. We're like, hey, they can be there for the future. I know this coaching staff can adapt and can figure out ways to win. I mean, I look at this Cardinals game specifically, and I believe the Lions straight up outcoached them. Like, straight up. We're going to take a look at some offensive clips in a second because I do believe they outcoached them offensively, but they did the same defensively too, if we're being fair. They outcoached the Arizona Cardinals in this game. Cliff Kingsbury said it. They outcoached us. They did. Lions beat them game plan-wise. They out-game planned them. They attacked the weaknesses in their coverage, and defensively, they locked up Kyler Murray. They played the best game that anybody's played against Arizona. Yes, they didn't have Hopkins, but everybody's got injuries. You have to find a way to make that work. It's not like next year all of a sudden no one's going to get hurt. Yeah, we lost Frank this year. That could definitely happen again next year. So then you're also learning about that depth. What happens if Decker goes down again next season? I hope it doesn't, but if it does, do we then have a tackle? Now I can look at this and say, hey, we need a backup tackle. Now I can learn from this and know. And I've learned that I have Evan Brown, and I'm cool with Evan Brown. We can rock with him if we need to. We have played in a lot of close games this season, and we've done that in the past as well with Patricia. When dagger time became a thing, we lost a ton of close games, gave up big leads. But finding a way to close sticks out. Yes, we do need more talent. We do need better players on this team. And we'll have a shot to go get those. We'll have money. We'll have capital this offseason. But at the end of it all, that coaching staff is where I look. Can we get it out of these players, and can we outcoach the other team? Heck, we have a good possible challenge this weekend. We could have Tim Boyle at quarterback and learn even more. What if we win with Tim Boyle? Now, I don't care how the game plays out, but what if the Lions found a way to beat the Atlanta Falcons, who I believe are still alive for the playoffs, so they're definitely fighting for that. We find a way to beat them with a backup quarterback. What does that say about my staff? What? I mean, we had a chance to beat Cleveland. We had 77 passing yards. 77 passing yards. We had a shot to beat them down to the wire. So what does it say if I can find a way to beat a team with a backup quarterback? 2019, Stafford goes down second half season. We lose every single football game. We got to lean on this a little bit more. We'll play a different type of ball game, but we're going to find a way. And now we're seeing coaches emerge within this coaching staff, stepping into bigger roles, getting opportunities. The Lions are adjusting there. Dan Campbell took it upon himself. I'm going to be the play caller because this isn't good enough. We got to figure this out. And Campbell can only work with who he's got. So if the Lions are going to go out and trade and go sign these dudes, this is what you got to work with. Figure it out. And they're figuring it out. And that's what's so exciting about this, is that they're finishing strong. I would love to see the Lions finish this season extremely strong, because that gives me a lot more confidence heading into next year. Hey, I can trust this staff. They got better. They learned. Now I give them more pieces. What are they going to do? Look what they're doing in UDFAs. I'm sure a team like the Giants will walk away from this draft thinking that they got a lot better, just like a lot of the top pick teams will walk away thinking, just like the Cleveland Browns thought for a long time, is that, hey, we just got a lot better after this draft. We got the good teams. They have consistency at the head coaching position. I mean, I look at a team like Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. When Big Ben is not there, they still have never had a below 500 record with him. They're winning with Mason Rudolph. They're winning with the guy, the duck guy, I can't even remember the dude's name. All right, look at the Patriots. I mean, they went 11-5 with Matt Castle as their quarterback thing. I think the Lions go mid to late round this season, if at all. And then next year, depending on how the season goes, because 2022 goes real well, which I know Rad already locked in, we're making the playoffs. If it goes well, maybe they won't go high quarterback. But I've noticed a lot of quarterbacks that have to step in and play right away for rookies, they have more success on a team that's picking mid to late rounds in the first round because their team's better. If you're throwing a guy into a terrible situation, it's probably not going to go that well. And this would be our third season with this regime. So you want to see everything else get built, because even if you do draft another quarterback down the road, I would rather be taking that quarterback at 15 through 32. You want to become that team, right? That losing the one or two key pieces doesn't destroy your season. It's like Philadelphia, who went on to win throughout the entire playoffs, win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. And if it is going to be that young guy, you want to have other things built. I mean, who's having the best rookie season for any quarterback this year? It's Mac Jones. He was in the top one, even though, hey, I thought he was, up there. But anyways, he's having the best season because of the team that he's on, with a great defense. The guy literally completed threw 3 passes, and they beat the Bills. Lamar Jackson, as soon as Flacco went down, the 32nd pick in the draft steps in and they take off. He's a rookie, but the team around him is good. Let's take a look at a few clips from this game, because I thought, first off, the Detroit Lions passing the football, their game plan was really good. I thought it was a really good game plan in this one. Just the way they attacked their coverage over and over. And we know the run game can set up a lot with the pass, and that helped us for sure. They kept sliding a safety into the box, going to these single high looks. They ran a lot of cover 3 out of it. But the Lions, like Cliff Kingsbury would say, they outcoached them. They really did. And we always seem to ask ourselves as fans, why can't we get guys open? The Lions got guys open in this game, and we're going to see that in this one with a few key clips from this game, key pass plays specifically, not the run plays. We're going to take a look at that from this one. Just the way the Lions, they just attacked their coverage. It's like they were always a step ahead of them, and maybe that was some of the Ben Johnson effect, where Tim Boyle said, man, he understands coverage, he understands how to read coverage, where the weaknesses are in zone coverage, and that's what it seemed like in this one. The Lions were just on top of the Cardinals, and they knew how to exploit things in their defense, and he started off with this touchdown pass to St. Brown. And as I said, it seemed like every little thing that the Lions did in this one, it mattered. Every single little movement mattered. Take a look at this touchdown pass. That's to St. Brown here, who they call it a sneak route. Sneaks out, runs like a little wheel route, and it becomes pretty much wide open. Now, first things first, it was a play action, and the Lions run fake sold a lot with this play. It did. It sold a lot. You got guys biting down underneath, so that's huge. but it's also taking advantage of kind of knowing what they were doing coverage-wise. And St. Brown said after the game, they were matching up in zone coverage. So when you run through their zone, they'd match up, basically turn to man coverage on these vertical routes. And at that point, you got a guy like St. Brown wide open, running what he called, again, this little sneaker. He's going to sneak here, and then he's going to turn into a wheel route, and then he's going to be gone for a touchdown. Now, keep an eye on St. Brown at the beginning of this play, because if you're wondering where the pressure came from, this outside linebacker, by the way, is going to drop. But the pressure comes from Isaiah Simmons, who's going to come off this edge here. Now, St. Brown is supposed to chip this, and then Brock Wright's going to come across. He's going to get this cross block and pick this up. It's going to sell the run even more, and then it would have been a good pocket for Jared Goff. But Isaiah Simmons does a good job of avoiding that, so he's still able to get into the backfield and mess up the timing of the block here for Brock Wright. And again, the littlest things, Brock Wright motioning inside. It's going to pull this cornerback in a tad. It's going to slide the safety down. It's just going to sell the run a little bit more when you have that place after the motion. So bam. All right, right there. You see the movement by the defense. You see the cornerback slide in a little bit. You see the safety start to jump down. This looks much more like a run play, right? St. Brown is in position to block here, selling the run much more, and being able to run the football helps because it opens up things like this. All right, but now let's take a look at how the Lions attack this coverage. So you're going to get kind of this deep in route from Khalif. Timing is important, and when he runs this, as we stated, like St. Brown said, they're going to turn this kind of into man coverage. They're going to match up through zone coverage. Deep route from Josh Reynolds like that, which is going to turn to man coverage here. Now, he's playing outside leverage as a cornerback. Both these cornerbacks are. So this safety, the one deep safety, he's going to slide inside, so he's got to help out a little bit. So it's going to slide the safety out of the play. And then when Khalif Raymond does his little sneak route, sneaks out to this wheel, which was drawn awfully. I'm not sure what that was. When he does that, he's wide open. So let's take a look at how this play goes. Okay, let's start this play. Watch how this thing plays out. Really well done. You got the safety sliding into blocks. You got your one deep safety. All right, Khalif Raymond's going to pull off his man. Josh Reynolds going to pull his man in man coverage. Because of the routes being over here, the deep safety is going to slide over to help. And then you have St. Brown underneath. Now you can see the blocking. Simmons able to get a little pressure, which is why Goff has to escape it. Then also, I even think the littlest things, even just Craig Reynolds running here underneath. I think a little thing doesn't really work, but it can halt this outside linebacker just a little bit longer, make this pass even easier. Leaves St. Brown wide open because of where he was hidden on the play. And it works, as you can see, to perfection. Well done play, by the way. Me and my man Michael Banks are right about here. I know the coverage the quality's not good enough to really tell where we're at, but that's what happened. All right, so they just attacked the coverage really well, got a guy open. And maybe this is the Ben Johnson effect. I don't know. Whoever it is, all right, it's probably going to be around next year, and he may even see a promotion, depending on who this guy is that's designing this. Because we just attacked their coverage over and over. And I think a lot of things that you have to read, to me personally, is a lot of times the safeties, especially when you're getting these looked defensively, when you're trying to figure out, okay, where's the safety going to be, which one's dropping deep, and which one's sliding into the box side. All right, this safety's going to drop, this one's going to slide into the box. But again, the Lions, they attack this well. You're going to get a little seam route here from St. Brown, all right, seam route. So because of this, in this cover 3 defense, this safety is going to have to slide inside and help pick up. He's going to pass this off to the safety, so the safety's got to slide in and pick this up. At that point, it becomes a one-on-one with the cornerback. So even though it's in zone coverage, it becomes a one-on-one. Now on this side, because the safety's dropping deep, this cornerback kind of sits, and then you get this gap between them, and then you have your safety deep. Yeah, you could possibly try to throw that, but with Khalif, why throw that? Why not just take the one-on-one? And then it's about the route running. And this is where the route running is just beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. So you're going to get some corner routes, but Josh Reynolds, seeing that as one-on-one, understanding there's no safety up over top, and that's where Goff is going to go. As soon as he notices his safety drops, this one's coming down, that's where the ball's going. It's going to my one-on-one. I trust Josh Reynolds to win his one-on-one. He's going to kind of cut this off. So he's going to run like a corner, and then he's going to stop and just cut this thing. Maybe that's why the pass is a little bit high. But it is so well done, the route running here. So let's watch this thing. All right, watch him out of his cuts. You can see the seam route. It's going to take this safety inside. You're going to have this safety slide over, so you got a one-on-one. And then watch how he cuts this. Bam! You see that break? All right, he's got this defender completely flipped, completely turn around. And then on time, bam, a little high, maybe because of the route that he ran, but he got himself open, right? And as soon as Goff reads that, that's where the safety's at, takes his one-on-one. You can see the space. Better pass probably helps a little bit more there, but it's still a great way to attack the zone coverage that they're playing. Here's another one. Now, at first, I didn't think this was a design. I thought it was just an instinct for Jared Goff to roll right, and it worked well. But the more I watch, I think this may have been a designed rollout, just by watching how the offensive line pass protects here. But they're going to blitz their cornerback on this play, and they're also going to blitz their linebacker. So, of course, as soon as you see that, it still makes sense to roll out here. You're going to get like a nice little zig route on this side from Khalif. But it's about this right side because, again, the way they're playing coverage, they're going to first take their tight end, and they're going to use him on a vertical route like this, and he's going to pull off. Actually, he's going to turn it more into a corner route, I believe, like that. So he's going to pull off both this cornerback and this safety that's sliding down the box. And again, you have your single high safety. For him, it's an easy read. It's roll out right, stay away from the blitz, and take the easy read. Well, in this case, they're both going to follow the tight end. So St. Brown's just going to do an underneath out route. Simple little out route, but it's going to give him a ton of space because, again, of the way you're attacking this coverage. This safety slides over like this, all right? And then because the deep route, it pulls both the cornerback and the safety out of the play. Goff rolls right, makes an easy pass for him. And then, of course, the linebacker's playing inside leverage, still just where he's lined up. It's easy for St. Brown. Ton of space, and then St. Brown does everything after the play himself. Bop! Picks up the first down and executed by the players as well. I love that. Now you get these trips formation, which attacks, again, a balanced coverage. When you're playing a lot of single high looks, you go to trips coverage. So that's kind of what you're going to get here, right? You're going to get the one deep safety. He slides down. This one drops deep. All right, so that's what you see here. And the Lions are going to go 1, 2, 3. They're going to go trips. They're going to kind of take advantage of this defensively. Now, they're going to drop their linebackers on this play into coverage. And this time, they're going to set this up later. He's going to run like a wheel route. But this time, you're going to have him sit down right here. All right, so St. Brown's going to sit down. Then you're going to have this under route by your man Josh Reynolds, which they do a ton. He's going to sit between the linebackers, and this under route's important because it's going to hold this linebacker. Now they're going to pass this off, being that it's this zone coverage underneath, but it holds because Josh Reynolds is going across the middle. If this linebacker just automatically takes off outside to St. Brown, then of course Goff's going to have an easy pass. So it holds this linebacker. Then that gives space for St. Brown, which is going to get room because you're going to get this vertical route, which is going to pull these guys deep. So you're going to have a ton of room to sit down and catch this pass if you're St. Brown right there. Bam, you can see all the space that is created. Quick, easy decision for the quarterback. Picks up 9 yards, brings up a 4th and 1. They're also playing back because of the sticks, so you take advantage of that. You pull them back, check it out underneath, hoping that he picks up the first. He doesn't. You go back to the screen, and you end up picking up the first down anyways when you throw it out to St. Brown again. And then you have this touchdown play, which is really, there's some going on, but at the same time, it's kind of an easy read for the quarterback. I mean, all he's going to simply do is just hold this safety off. It's really as simple as that. So like we looked at the last play, this time, as you could see, St. Brown is going to run this little wheel route. You're going to see they're kind of going to match in coverage again here. So you're going to get this wheel route. They're going to match in coverage. Here's your underneath route. And then you're going to have Brock Wright. He's going to run like a skinny post into the end zone. And again, because the zone coverage, this cornerback is playing outside leverage, so he's going to have the inside. So dropping one safety deep, he's going to slide over to help in the end zone, and he's going to take away the inside. So for Goff, all he's got to do, as you can see, he's just staring down this side of the field, this safety sliding down underneath, and then again, it turns into one-on-one with Josh Reynolds versus cornerback. And who does he trust? He's going to trust Josh Reynolds. Now, on the side of the field with Josh Reynolds, it's really the route combinations that opens up this touchdown because you're going to get the safety that's going to slide down into the box due to this crossing route. And then you're going to have your running back on this play, which is Godwin, who's going to run basically like a little kind of wheel route to the end zone. So the linebacker's going to have to slide and take that. If he doesn't, that pass is going to be wide open. Unless, of course, the cornerback sits down. But if the cornerback sits down, then that pass is wide open. And the safety slides down because of the crossing route over the middle. So you see what I'm saying? Since the crossing route's over the middle, the safety has to slide down because the linebacker's got to follow the running back out the backfield. And because of that, now you have no safety. So all Goff has to do is look off the safety, and you have a one-on-one. And then it's up to Josh Reynolds when you're inside leverage, and I have a one-on-one shot to the end zone. Pass protection wasn't perfect, but it was just enough to get the ball out, and great play design. Again, watch the route running by Reynolds to keep this inside leverage right there. Bam. See how he sells the outside, gets inside leverage on this cornerback. And as soon as he's out of his break, as soon as he breaks, I should say, Goff puts it on time. There's a little pressure, but he knows where he's going with the football. Everybody else is mashed up. You can see it sitting underneath. You have this little wheel route, which again should hold this linebacker a little bit because you send Godwin out. Linebacker's got to keep an eye on it because if he just keeps dropping back and get depth, you can just throw this thing over to Godwin. He's got a ton of room. And then you just attack it right here. Bam! On time, on the money. Great execution. Touchdown Lions. They're just attacking this coverage, and they attacked it really well in this game. You had a couple of reads. Yeah, you had two options where Goff could have went to. Now, this is a 3rd and 4 situation. Again, the Lions, this was early in the game. They picked it up, right? They pick up their 3rd and 4. This is early in the game, so you want to get the first down. Now, you're going to get this one-on-one to the outside. This one's with Shane Zylstra. If this is Hockenson, I've seen him take this pass early in the season. He could take this one-on-one because you got the deep safety here. You got the guy sliding down here. He could take this one-on-one shot and actually shout to Zylstra watching this back on the L22. If they take a look at this, he gets space. right? Watch St. Zylstra. Look, see how he gets the step? You could throw this deep. And watching this back, Goff may have to say, well, Zylstra's getting open. So that's probably why in practice, and they're giving him such a big role in offense, and they're using him, because you could get looks like this. And a lot of times, you know, you could throw this with Hockenson, but Zylstra got open here. So shout out to Zylstra for getting open on this play. But this one, let me back it up a little bit. This one's all about the clear route on this play, knowing that it's 3rd and 4. Up with St. Brown, who's going to clear out through the middle. Watch him run this through the middle. He's going to attack the seam of the defense. Okay, so you're going to back these guys up, and then you're going to have the sit down by Josh Reynolds. Now, Goff has to wait till the very last second because he's going to park and sit down right here. So he's got to wait till the very last second to get this ball off for the edge rush. Good protection. It was good enough to hold on to the last second. Just watch how this plays out. You can see Khalif Raymond. He's going to run his guys off. You attack the seam here, which is going to pull, see, as you can see, Isaiah Simmons out of the play, because, of course, if Isaiah Simmons sits underneath on Josh Reynolds, then what's going to happen? Well, you're going to have this space that he can try to put it in between these defenders. Well, Isaiah Simmons is going to take it. Isaiah Simmons is going to take it. Sometimes you do this with speedsters. You put him on, you know, this route because I think, yeah, St. Brown, he's the number 3 receiver on this play, right? You count back 1, 2, 3. So a lot of times some teams will put a speedster on a linebacker to try to get that matchup to attack this cover 3 look defensively. Well, in this case, Isaiah Simmons, he's got some speed, so he's just going to run with him, right? So he's going to run with him fine. That works. So Lions are going to attack that. They need 4 yards. So what they do? Well, Goff waits till Josh Reynolds sits down, and he throws it. Now, this is where you see those route running details that Dan Campbell was talking about. Okay, so watch how the Lions attack this zone. Josh Reynolds has to run this far enough to get away from this linebacker, but then they put Craig Reynolds underneath who's going to cross. Now, Reynolds is running out of the zone of this inside linebacker until he passes it off to the safety, because that's what they do when you run under routes in a cover 3 look. So he's passing this off to the safety, so Reynolds has to run it out of the zone of the linebacker. As you can see, that's why he goes a little bit further, and Goff has to wait until he starts getting the attention of Craig Reynolds. And then there's that gap between him and the safety that they hit right here, and it's a first down. Now you're getting what is basically a one-on-one for Jared Goff, easy read one-on-one. You're going to get this one-on-one with Khalif Raymond on the bottom. Now this pass, it looks high. Really what happened here is you'll see Khalif Raymond slips and falls. So it's very similar look, right? See, it turns into this. He's going to run this deep corner route, bam, and he's going to try to break it off early. Just, you saw Josh Reynolds do it earlier, how he cut it off early so he could give himself that separation. Well, in this point, Khalif Raymond tries to do that. He slips and falls. Goff's already throwing the football, and that's why it turns into that. Definitely looks like the Lions could use some more work with the timing and passing on these routes to the corner, but the game plan is good. It's just the game planning. Lions came out, they attacked this coverage, and I think they won that battle. So you talk about wanting to get guys open. Lions got guys open, and it was well done because it was all schematically done. So shout out to whoever was helping with this, because they did a good job, and the Lions offensively, not only is it just getting players back, that helps because they're able to open some things up, but it's also the scheme. And in this game, the Lions did a really good job with their scheme. But it does come down to, if you have the right general manager, he'll get the right guys in the building. And then at the same time, the coach has got to get the best out of them. And I think we're seeing a lot from this coaching staff and learning a lot from this coaching staff, specifically on the defense side of the ball when you look at some of these players. But then you're also learning about players and what guys you're cool with going forward with, and you're cool with locking up and bringing back. You know, whether these are new guys or guys that have been here, whether that's a Will Harris, who Dan Campbell said, is he a corner? Is he a nickel? Is he a jack of all trades? And you're looking at his versatility, you got to be thinking to yourself, maybe this guy is worth keeping around for a while, because even if he's not a starter, we can play him pretty much everywhere in the secondary, and that opens up a roster spot elsewhere when we have Will Harris here. The Lions coaching staff, from an Aubrey Pleasant to a Deuce Staley, you slide over to a Todd Wash, and you just look at the coaching staff, and now you're seeing improvements from Charles Harris, who's having his best season. I would say Amani's clearly having his best season. Some of that's natural growth, but a lot of it is also what the players are getting out of these guys. And then you can also pick up what you think the weaknesses are. But I think really offensively, you're learning a lot about, hey, when the offensive line is this, now what do we need? Maybe we need another receiver out there. Maybe we need another outside guy. Maybe Josh Reynolds has to come back because he's been helping this offense so much. I think there's those things that you can pick up on, and we're also being forced to learn how to utilize guys differently. Without a Swift, without a Hawk, how can we still have success offensively? Hopefully it continues, but this team has looked much different since the bye week. And this is a great thing to carry over. And no matter what pick Brad Holmes gets, if he's the right guy, if he's the GM, with all the picks that he's got to work with, he's going to have the capital to be able to pick up players. So at that point, it's just about getting the right guys. And the Lions trust him. He's going to find the right guys if he's that dude. And you'll get the coaches that have brought a lot of these guys to bring it to the table, right? You'll get them to bring it out of them as well when they go through this. And they'll have money to spend this free agency. This will be a whole different free agency. I'm almost comparing this a little bit more to what Patricia's free agency was like in 2019. How we spent some more money. May not be as crazy, but I think it'll be much more similar to that, with 10, 11 draft picks, somewhere in that range, depending on what you do with them. More money to spend because, of course, got a lot of winter deals, guys being brought back. I think there will be a lot more movement this offseason than what we saw last offseason, what we're bringing in, because the salary cap is jumping up, because you have the amount of draft picks that you have, and because you also kind of know, all right, this is what we need, and you can evaluate these spots after the season. I think this is going to be a much more active offseason.